Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Battle Stadium singles video here on iStarly TV. We are now live in Season 2. This is my first actual day of playing Season 2 of the Battle Stadium singles Series 1 rule set. So it's the same rules as last season, or last season I guess, which is, basically every Pokemon in Paldea is legal except for the legendary Pokemon and the Paradox Pokemon, and also the kind of special Pokemon that were added to the game like Charizard and Cinderace. They are also not legal right now. I'm really excited for next month because the new rule set will come into play and that will allow Paradox Pokemon to be legal. So I'm looking forward to that. But until then, I'm going to run it with a different team today, although a lot of these Pokemon you have seen me use before. There are a couple small changes here, but I actually have a team that I'm really excited about that's really unique and interesting that I was going to debut today. But I was working on the team before this video and I realized I kind of need a few TMs, and some of the TMs, in order to get them, you need to either get the Pokemon materials or you need to get them from the Pokemon reps or whatever at the Pokemon centers, and you need to beat a bunch of trainers to get there. So I just figured it was a lot of work, so I'll just kind of work on it later tonight, and then hopefully tomorrow I can record a video with that special team. I'm not going to show actually none of the Pokemon, well, maybe not none of the Pokemon, but the cool Pokemon I'm trying to showcase are not anywhere in this box, so you don't know who they are. So I'm excited. Anyways, so this team is pretty traditional. I'm running a lot of Pokemon that are pretty common and pretty tried and true in Battle Stadium singles, so not a whole lot of surprises here. I do have my Sash Glimora lead that I've shown in previous videos. I just thought it was a great Pokemon to show off, but also it's a solid Pokemon. I like it a lot, and it is a good rock setter. I actually wanted something to set up hazards because the Pokemon I'm trying to kind of feature in this match is going to be this beautiful shiny Dragonite. I think this is the first time I'm showing this off in Battle Stadium singles. I've had it for a while, but I never really found a team for it, and honestly, the moveset I'm not too sure about either. I'm just max attacks and max speed with Dragon Dance Extreme Speed, Outrage, and Fire Punch. Pretty standard, I guess you could say, and I'm also the Terra Normal type, so the goal here is to maybe set up a Dragon Dance to boost my attack, and then Terra Normal, and then spam Extreme Speeds to do a ton of damage. And Terra Normal is also just a really solid typing on Dragonite. Dragonite's a good Pokemon with multi-scale, so it takes just a little bit of damage from stuff. And then I'm running the Lumberry to help me against Pokemon like maybe Volcarona and stuff like that, to help against burns or paralysis or anything like that. So I'm trying to show off this Dragonite. I know there are probably better Dragonite sets. This is kind of like a hybrid between the Terra Normal Extreme Speed like Choice Band set and just a straight up Dragon Dance set, which I think people typically run different Terra types for that. But I figured Terra Normal's probably just a fine place to be, especially with a bunch of ghost types running around in the meta. So that's where I started, was I wanted to show off my shiny Dragonite. From there, I honestly just added a bunch of other Pokemon that I think are good. Obviously, some Pokemon that give Dragonite trouble are going to be unaware Pokemon like Dondozo, Skeledirge, sometimes Clodsire. So one Pokemon you're not gonna be surprised about this one. One Pokemon that I found to be pretty solid against a lot of those Pokemon is my Choice Specs Dragapult, just because it hits really hard, and a lot of those unaware Pokemon are more physically defensive, so we can hit them really hard with some strong special attacks and kind of threaten them and stuff like that. So I found this to just be, it goes without saying, this is like probably one of my favorite Pokemon, if not my favorite Pokemon in Battle Stadium singles right now, Choice Specs Dragapult. I've used it on so many of my teams. Next, we have Annihilate, which is another setup sweeper, and I thought, I saw a team on the Smogon forums where I forgot what sweeper they had, but they had like a setup Pokemon on their team, and then they also had this Annihilate set, and their words were something like, if you see a bunch of unaware Pokemon, then bring Annihilate to sweep, and if you don't, then bring Dragonite. So I'm kind of going off of that, playing that idea. I mean, they're both Terra Normal, which is kind of funny, but this is a pretty traditional Annihilate set. I believe I used this Annihilate on my very first Battle Stadium singles video, and Annihilate's just a great Pokemon as well. And against unaware Pokemon, you can taunt them, and yes, they will ignore your bulk ups because of unaware, but if you taunt them, then they're forced to attack you, and every time they attack you, your Rage Fist gets more powerful. So you're kind of still boosting your power even through the Unaware, which is pretty great. And then we have the Leftovers. Actually, I just realized something. I'm gonna have to make a quick change after I talk about the team, because we have Skeletor, which this Pokemon has just been so great. I've kind of fallen in love with the Terra Fairy Skeletor set, with just a bunch of HP and defense. You just take hits from almost everything, and then you have Unaware to just ignore setup sweepers, and then you just spam Torch Song to boost your own special attack. And you can sometimes just sweep through teams with just this Pokemon, and Terra Fairy is just such a fantastic Terra type. So yeah, I mean, little else needs to be said about Skeletor. And the last Pokemon I guess that I haven't talked about yet is actually my own Dondozo. This Pokemon is just another fantastic Pokemon in the meta. It has a massive HP stat already, so that's why I'm actually not running any investment in it. I'm running max defense and max special defense, which maybe looks a little weird. I think you can still go max HP and max defense for Dondozo, or max HP and max special defense, I guess depending on what you're trying to take on with this. But this is just a well-rounded Dondozo set. And if you watched my previous video with the amazing Lockix team that I was showing off, I actually lost to a Fissure Dondozo, and so of course I'm trying that myself. I think Fissure, again, you know, it feels bad to use it. It feels bad to win with it because it's just so inaccurate. But on a Pokemon like Dondozo with just such massive bulk that can take hits from so many different things, and it just has so much survivability, it just kind of just makes sense to use it. You might as well, I think. And then Wave Crash is there just for some damage. So we'll see how this goes. Honestly, Dondozo was the last Pokemon I added to the team, and I just thought okay, I'm gonna, I have all these other Pokemon with a little bit of a plan with these Pokemon, and then I just needed something to round out the coverage. One Pokemon that I was kind of afraid of was opposing Dragapults. Usually if people see my Glimmora lead, they figure I'm going to have Focus Sash, and so they lead with their Dragapult, and sometimes they'll go I don't know, Dragon Darts to break my Sash and kill me on turn 1. So I was just worried about opposing Dragapults in general because they can do a lot of damage to my team, and because my own Dragapult is modest, that means other Dragapults who are jolly or even timid will outspeed me. So I just wanted a Pokemon that can just take hits really well, and I feel like I'm the only weirdo who's running Thunderbolt on their Dragapult right now, so it's unlikely other Dragapults will have that move for Dondozo. But anyways, that is the team. I'm going to go ahead and swap out the Leftovers on either Annihilape or Skeletor, because obviously you cannot have two of the same item on your teams. And then we'll get into some battles. So I ended up switching out the Leftovers on Annihilape for Citrus Berry. I just figured it's nice to have the consistent sustain with Leftovers, but I figured since I have Drain Punch as well, and Citrus Berry can give me some health as well, I just thought it was a good option. So anyways, let's go ahead and begin. My opponent's team is solid. I mean, they've got a lot of good Pokemon here. I kind of feel like, because I'm kind of trying to feature Dragonite on this team, I think I want to always ask the question, can Dragonite sweep? And their team has a few Pokemon that Dragonite can handle 1v1, but then they also have some Pokemon that are going to be really scary for the Dragonite. At the same time, I think my Dragonite's looking pretty solid here. As long as I can break their Dragonite's multi-scale, I think I'm going to be in a good spot with my Dragonite. So I like bringing Dragonite here a lot. I think that means I'm going to want to bring Glimmora as well, because that can set up Stealth Rock to break their Dragonite's multi-scale. They also have a few other Pokemon that are going to be weak to Stealth Rock, and a Pokemon that people typically like to lead with is Meowscarada, who Glimmora can actually handle 1v1 pretty decently. So let's go ahead and start with that and then go into Dragonite. And then from there, we have a few other options. Dondozo's solid against Baxcalibur and even the likes of Armarouge and even Goldango, but Goldango sometimes has Trick, which is something to be aware of. Also, of course, Meowscarada is scary against Dondozo, so that's something I want to keep in mind. My Dondozo does have Fissure, which can one-hit KO the Garganacl unless it's Terra Flying, which is what happened in my previous video where I was on the other side of that. But also Skeletor is a decent option. I think I'm going to choose Skeletor just because it's such a reliable Pokemon for me. Dragapult was also solid here. I kind of feel like there's a lot of different routes I could have gone with Pokemon I brought here because a lot of them just look so good against their team. But, each of them has their own strengths and weaknesses. And I was running out of time, so I had to kind of figure that out. My opponent's trainer card's pretty funny. My trainer card, I think it's kind of cool. I actually wanted to take a picture of the little, the little sea creature thing. but I couldn't get a good shot of it. But anyways, so they lead with their Armarouge, and I'm leading with my Glimmora. I am tempted to go for the Mud Shot turn 1. Usually that's what I do. I think Glimmora actually naturally outspeeds Armarouge, but I think if they do not Terra, then I hit them super effectively and lower their speed, and then I can just get up a Stealth Rocks after that. Plus, in case they happen to be like Choice Scarf, this is also just a solid play, I think. So we're going to lower their speed, and they're going to get off a Psyshock, which is great for them, but luckily for me, I do have the Focus Sash. Now, Armarouge doesn't typically run... I forgot what I was going to say because I was thinking too far ahead of the battle. But let's go ahead and think about this. So I can Mud Shot again, which looks like it might kill them, which would be a good spot for me to be in. Or I can just get up my Stealth Rock because it's so important. I think just going for a kill is more value. And okay, the worst case scenario is they go into their Dragonite here. But otherwise, they don't really have anything else that really will enjoy taking a Mud Shot. So I'm just going to go ahead and get off a Mud Shot on the Baxcalibur, which is great because that's a Pokemon that can be really threatening. Now here, I'm going to go for this Stealth Rock, and even if they set up a Dragon Dance, okay, sure, that's fine. So they do kill me. I honestly didn't think about Ice Shard, but this does get up the Toxic Spikes for me. So I think that's fine as well. If their last Pokemon is Dragonite, you know, that's a little scary, but also pretty understandable, I would say. So now I have a couple of options here. I have Skeledirge for their Baxcalibur, and that's probably a decent option. If I do that though, I'm probably kind of forced to Terrastalize. Otherwise, I have my own Dragonite that I can go into here. I can Terrastalize, set up a Dragon Dance, and then just really threaten their Baxcalibur. But knowing that they have... that's actually a scary situation. I think I do just want to go Dragonite though, but both of my last Pokemon are great at Terrastalizing. So this might come back to bite me because I want to Terrastalize Skeledirge, but I kind of feel like if I'm going to be going into Dragonite here, I absolutely have to Terrastalize because obviously they have the really strong ice type moves to hit me with. So this was probably, if I'm being quite honest, this was probably a dumb situation, a dumb call on my part. I guess maybe I should have just gone for the Outrage right there, honestly, because I know I can take a hit from Baxcalibur, especially at full health. And just, they haven't shown signs that they are going to be Terrastalizing. Oh, now they do, of course, because I did. So that makes a lot of sense. By the way, sorry for the squawkabillies in the back. They are sometimes really loud. So they Terra Ground, which could be smart on their part if they're predicting me to Terrastalize, which obviously, you know, why wouldn't I Terrastalize here? Anyway, I go for the Dragon Dance, and we're going to see how this plays out. I think I might have made a mistake here, but we're going to see. Terra Ground is also great for them because if they kill my Dragonite and I have to go into Skeledirge, I can no longer Terra Fairy. So yeah, this was a big mistake, I think. But as long as if my extreme speed can do a ton of damage here, then that's going to be great. Baxcalibur is super tanky though, so this is going to have to carry a lot of weight. This is going to have to do a ton of damage for me to have any chance in this battle. And it does one-hit KO. That's perfect. I do get a critical hit, which is obviously pretty unfortunate for them. But I'm not sure if that mattered. I'll have to calc that to see if that did matter. I was at +1, I am an Adamant Nature, and I am Terra Normal, so there's a lot going for me in that regard. But their next Pokemon is going to be Goldango. If they're Choice Scarf, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, but that's going to just force them to make it rain. Then I can go into Skeledirge and go for the Torch Song. So, I mean, yeah, there's nothing else I can do here but Fire Punch. If they're not Choice Scarf, okay, yeah, they are Choice Scarf, of course, okay. All right, now here's the really funny thing. So they're Choice Scarf, and we know that. That's good to know. The really funny thing in this situation, though, is that Unaware is typically a really good ability, but in this situation, it's actually really bad for me because Unaware will actually ignore the special attack drop from Make It Rain, which means their Make It Rains will be hitting just as hard here. So I can go for the Torch Song. Obviously, that's like probably the most obvious move here, but I think I'm just going to go Shadow Ball. It's super effective against Goldango, and if they switch out, it is, of course, super effective against this Pokemon as well, Armarouge. Now, this puts me in a situation where I'm 1v1 against the Goldango. I'm trying to think, should I have gone Torch Song? I don't think so, because Armarouge is going to be faster than Skeledirge, so I go Torch Song, I get +1 special attack, but then they're faster, then they get to hit me and I knock them out. I'm just thinking like it'd be nice to be +1 against Gholdengo. I'm probably, if I'm being honest, I think there's a good chance I lose this battle here. It's going to come down to this, but I cannot Terra. I can slack off, but if they're just going to spam Shadow Ball, that's just great for them. That just puts them in a great position. So I think I'm losing this battle, unfortunately. I think that was a dumb wow, that's just a one-hit KO. I'm a little surprised. That's a crit. Okay, so they earned that crit, I guess, because I got the crit earlier in the battle, which might have mattered against Baxcalibur. So I do think, if I'm being honest, like I do think I didn't play that well. I didn't play that really smart. I probably should have gone into... I mean, knowing their entire team comp now, I guess it's fine to Terra Skeledirge in favor of, or instead of Terra-ing, terrestrializing, I guess, the Dragonite. But at the same time, I think it was kind of a 50-50, because then if I do Terra the Skeledirge, then Skeledirge is weak to Make It Rain. So it's like, no matter what I do with Skeledirge, I'm going to be weak to the Gholdengo's moves. So... I guess I could have gone Skeledirge first, but the funny thing is, if I go Skeledirge first against Baxcalibur, and I choose to not Terrastalize, then they can just EQ and, you know, do a lot of damage. So I would have to Terrastalize there and just spam Shadow Ball, because, I mean, I guess I could spam Torch Song against Baxcalibur, because even though I'm boosting its attack, you know, I can ignore that with Unaware. And then I die, maybe, and then go into Dragonite, maybe pick off the Baxcalibur with extreme speed. Dragonite's pretty good 1v1 against Armarouge, and then it can do work against Gholdengo if I can survive a hit and then get off a Fire Punch. So, yep, I mean, that's just how the battle went. It's fine. Again, this is not like a true team. It's just a bunch of Pokemon I wanted to try out. So, yeah, it was fun though. Let's try it. Let's run it back, I guess. All right, starting the season off with a loss, but we're not shaking here. Like I said, I wanted to get this video out today and try out some awesome Pokemon like Dragonite. Once I make maybe more serious teams, maybe I'll, you know, have a better chance at winning. But my opponent's team is looking pretty interesting here. They have Houndstone, which right away you're going to want to keep in mind, and then they also have Kingambit, both of whom benefit when Pokemon on the opponent's team are knocked out. So if those are the last, if either of those is the last Pokemon they bring, their moves are going to be doing a lot of damage. So we're going to have to really keep that in mind here. And they also have Hippowdon, which is a Pokemon I don't like to see. That's a really, really bulky Pokemon that's just so hard to take down. So yeah, we have a lot of work. We have our work cut out for us, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. I like Dragonite though. I think Dragonite's in a decent spot. Although with Hippowdon, they're going to want to get up the rocks. I think I like bringing Dragapult as well. Like Dragapult hits really hard. Like if the first turn is Pult versus Hippowdon, they don't really have a good switch into Shadow Ball. And then I like bringing Dragonite, although if they're getting up rocks with Hippowdon, that's really bad for me, because my thought process is like, if their last Pokemon is like Kingambit with Supreme Overlord and Sucker Punch, then if I have Dragonite, I can take a Sucker Punch with, you know, Multiscale. So maybe that's not the best place to be in, although Skeledirge is also rough against Kingambit. Oh god. Okay, I'm just going to bring Dragonite, and then I'm going to bring Dondozo because it's bulky. We'll see what happens here. They also have Rotom as well, so yeah, I was running out of time there. Let's see how this plays out. But Dragapult is a good lead against just about everything they have. I guess if they have Gallade with Assault Vest, maybe that's not the best spot for me to be in. But otherwise, you know, they don't really have a good switch into a Specs Shadow Ball. So they lead with Rotom. Interesting. Now, I think Rotom typically terrestrializes into a fairy type. So this is actually a worst case scenario for me, to be honest, which is really funny because I like... Their whole team looked kind of weak to Dragapult, but that I didn't think about the Rotom. So when you see a Rotom, it's nice to think, okay, I Terrastalize and I go for the Choice Specs Draco Meteor. But like I said, typically Rotom goes Terra Fairy. So I'm just going to Shadow Ball here. It's likely they Terrastalize right away and go for like Terra Blast, which is really bad for me and probably will kill me. But I don't have a switch into this, so this is just kind of what I have to do. Really bad start to the battle. I can't switch in Dragonite because I don't want to take. I don't want to take a Terra Blast with Dragonite, and it's kind of stupid to switch into Dondozo because they also have Electric type moves. So I do over half with the Shadow Ball, which is a nice start. But obviously, once again, I'm expecting them to go Terra Blast. I don't think I live. They are Citrus Berry though. Rotom's a strong Pokemon, though it's not that strong. We'll see right now. We'll see what happens here. If I somehow live, that's perfect, because then I just go Shadow Ball. But I'm not expecting to live this. Yeah, I do not live that. That is really bad. But I take their Citrus Berry right away. I can't go into Dondozo here. I just have to go Dragonite, and I think just set up a Dragon Dance. I mean, or I just try to go Extreme Speed, right? I don't know. They could be bulky Rotom. Like, maybe they're physically bulky Rotom, which is also a bad place for me to be in. Do I... Well, I have to Terrastallize here, because otherwise they're just going to go Terra Blast and hit me for super effective damage. Do I go Extreme Speed with the hopes that I somehow kill them? Or do I just set up a DD? I think I just go E-Speed here. If by some miracle I kill them, then that's just a great place to be in, because my multi-scale is still intact. And if I go Dragon Dance, then they're definitely breaking my multi-scale, and then I'm not even sure that Extreme Speed kills after that. So yeah, another situation where, you know, this is not great for me. This is not looking great for me, but this is going to do a lot of damage unless they're bulky. I'm expecting them to be a little bulkier, which looks to be the case. They go Volt Switch here, which is going to do nothing. Ooh, never mind. That's not nothing. That does decent damage there. But they go Volt Switch there, and then they're going to switch out into... Hippo. Okay, not a great spot to be in here. Another thing about Hippowdon is that it typically has Whirlwind. So if I start setting up Dragon Dances, they can just Whirlwind me away. Just gotta go Extreme Speed. It's really funny that my Dragonite's wearing this stupid hat and it's doing so badly. My team is doing so bad. That does nothing. Yeah, this is just not a good situation for me to be in. I mean, I do have Lumberry for what it's worth. I think if I stay in, they might go for Yawn again. So I'm just gonna Dragon Dance. I mean, really, I'm just in such a bad spot. I don't wanna go into Dondozo. I mean, I could. Maybe I do just go into Dondozo, because I do have Sleep Talk, so that makes me kind of immune to Yawn as well. But whatever, I'm just going to set up Dragon Dances until they roar me out. No, not set up Dragon Dances until they roar me out. I'm going to Dragon Dance and then just, I guess, spam Extreme Speed until they roar me out. And if I have Dragonite in the back, it can pick off Rotom. My biggest concerns, as I've been saying, are going to be that King Gambit and that Houndstone. So I'm expecting them to have one of those in the back. It's probably Houndstone too, because of the Hippowdon. So here's a couple situations. I go Extreme Speed. They know they're gonna live. They could either Yawn again or Whirlwind or Roar. Or if they're expecting me to Extreme Speed, they could go into Houndstone here to take it, and then they'll be faster than me and they'll get to kill me. Although I'm Terra Normal, so they can't hit me with their Ghost type moves. So I just go Extreme Speed here. If they go Houndstone, that's fine. I don't really care. If they switch into Rotom, I don't think they would, but if they were to, then, you know, I kill that. They go Yawn again. I think I'm just better off. If I go Extreme Speed here, I'm just gonna kill it, and it's not a great situation. Yeah, actually, this is probably bad. Either way, I'm not in a good spot, because I go Extreme Speed right here. And now I fall asleep, so they can go into Rotom kind of for free. The other option was I switch out into Dondozo there, and then I don't care about them yawning me because I have Rest or I have Sleep Talk. And then I can just, maybe kill it with a Wave Crash or something like that. But then either way, Dondozo does not have a great matchup against Rotom, so there's really nothing I can do there. I'm gonna Extreme Speed. I don't think there's any chance I wake up. If I happen to live this hit though, then I guess that's fine. That's good for me, but yeah, I don't think I'm in a good spot here, because Rotom... Wow, they went Hydro Pump. That was really risky on their part. I know they're not choice locked though, so all they need to do is go Volt Switch against my Dondozo, and that's all. That's game, right? They're going to be faster than Dondozo for sure. They're immune to Fissure, so I have to Wave Crash here. And even if I survive a hit and knock them out, then that's not good. I guess I could go Rest. I'm gonna Rest. See what they do. I'm losing this battle. Yeah, they go Thunderbolt. I can't take that. I take it, but like, I guess my thought process here is if I go Wave Crash there, I kill them, but then I take Sandstorm and I take the Wave Crash recoil, so I'm like super low on health, and just about no matter what they go into, they're gonna outspeed me. And then I'm just at like 30 HP, and then they outspeed me and kill me. At least in this case, I know I'm gonna be taking a lot of damage from the Thunderbolt, but you know, it's kind of like either way I'm losing. I guess this just gives me a little bit more survivability. Not even though that does more damage. Whatever, you know, it is. I tried. It is what it is, right? My team is not prepared for Hippowdon. And that's the thing about Battle Stadium singles. Oh, I do get the Wave Crash there, which is like a 1 in 3 chance, which is going to kill them. But I just do not expect to take on whatever they bring in. Like, you know, all they need to do is have a Pokemon with a move that does damage. If by some miracle I'm faster than whatever they go into, then there's a chance I click Sleep Talk and select Fissure and then one hit KO them, right? But I think everything on their team is faster than Dondozo, so that's all they need. They do go Houndstone and it doesn't matter, yeah. I can Terra Normal, right? Nope. Okay, we'll see what happens here. Last Respects, yeah, that's the move I was worried about. So they did bring it, you know, and I did kind of bring accordingly, and that just kind of goes to show, you know, I'm 0-2 with this little makeshift team, but that goes to show I do want to talk a little bit about that. I mean, I think in that battle, you know, there were things I could have done differently. Absolutely, there always are. But I do want to talk through, whenever I lose, I try to assess what I could have done better. I think where I went mostly wrong was with the lead matchup, because of course they're going to have Terra Rotom. I should have been more aware of that. And I think that's always what happens with me is there's situations like this where I kind of look at an opponent's team and I assess the threats, and then I kind of like miss one of them. And that's what happened here is I assessed all of their threats. I assessed Houndstone and King Gambit, which were two Pokemon that I ended up being pretty afraid of, and I think correctly so. But I actually missed that they could have Terra Fairy Rotom, because I think I correctly assessed that Dragapult is a pretty solid option against their whole team, like turn 1, especially if they lead Hippowdon, which I maybe shouldn't have expected them to for sure do. But Fairy Rotom ended up being just great against my team in general. As you saw there, that Rotom was the Pokemon that kind of held their team together. I totally could have won that battle had it not been for the Rotom, or had I been smarter about, had I been more aware of Terra Fairy Rotom, and then had I kind of played around it better. But, you know, at least I made the right call with Dragapult and went Shadow Ball turn 1 rather than Draco, because yeah. Okay, so yeah, that was fun. We'll do one more and hopefully play better. All right, my opponent's team is really cool and pretty scary. Weavile, you really don't see like ever, and Slowking as well. But we'll try to think of what Weavile can do. Weavile is really fast and it's got a high attack stat. I'm looking at Skeledirge for Weavile if I can Terrastallize Skeledirge. And I think Skeledirge in general, Fairy Skeledirge is really, really solid against my opponent's team. If they're choice banded Terra Normal Extreme Speed Dragonite, that can be scary against Skeledirge, but otherwise Skeledirge is really solid against like almost their entire team. I also have Annihilate for the Weavile. I'm sorry, for the Breloom with Spore, because that's something I'm always worried about. I also have Dragonite with Lumberry for the Breloom with Extreme Speed to boot. This is a Dragonite showcase, but my opponent's team honestly looks pretty hostile towards Dragonite. I like the Dragapult just to get off a ton of damage. I think I like this as well. Do I bring Annihilate or Dragapult? Annihilate is better against Breloom. I think I want to bring Annihilate. If I can set up some bulk ups, that can put me in a pretty good position. Yeah, and then Skeledirge, like, Annihilate I think is a little less good against Dragonite, but also Skeledirge is great against Dragonite, so I don't know, we'll see. It's great against Dragonite unless I Terra Fairy and they go Terra Normal with Choice Band, right? So there's a lot of ways that this battle could go, and I think that's the thing about Battle Stadium singles. Like I always say, it's so volatile. You make one misplay and, you know, the game just significantly turns around. in one person's favor. So they lead Breloom here. I kind of wonder how likely or how much they're gonna expect the Annihilate switch here, but I think I have to go into it, right? I think they're more likely to go maybe Bullet Seed or Bulldoze here. If they go Bulldoze, that's a rough situation for me because it's gonna hit me for neutral damage, although I'm pretty tanky. They do go Bulldoze, so I did predict that. And I do not take that well at all. But I do eat my Citrus Berry, which means I'm going to be able to take a second Bulldoze. And then I can hit them with a really powerful Rage Fist. I think I'm just better off hitting with Drain Punch now. They did predict correctly, though. I could Terra Normal, which is dumb, though, because they're going to have Mach Punch. So just Drain Punch here. I survive another Bulldoze, obviously, and then I just get off some decent damage with Drain Punch. And, I mean, it's just going to have to be that. They do go Bulldoze, it does a good chunk of damage, and then I'm going to go Drain Punch. Rage Fist would have done more, but they're going to have Focus Sash anyway. So now I know they're going Bulldoze. I mean, there's nothing else I can do. I'm going to have to lose Annihilate here, because I can't switch either of these into Bulldoze. And, yeah, I can't switch either of these into Bulldoze. So I just have to stay in. I'm going to go Rage Fist, though, because it's going to do more damage if I somehow miraculously survive, which I don't think is going to happen. Nope. But now I can go into Glimmora and just go for the Sludge Wave to knock them out. They'll go Mach Punch to get off a lot of damage on me, but that'll also get some Toxic Spikes on the field, so... And if they somehow don't go for Mach Punch, then I'll kill them. Wow, they don't. What the heck? Does this not kill? Okay, well, sure, I'll take that. I mean, losing Annihilate is pretty bad, but at least I have a Glimmora with the Focus Sash intact. And Glimmora is pretty decent at 1v1ing certain things. Let's see what they go into after this. That is going to be Slowking. Very interesting. So they could have Trick Room. They could have Memento. They could have Trick Room. They could have Calm Mind. Is it worth it to get up Rocks now? I think it is because they have Cloyster and Dragonite. Just go for the Stealth Rock here, just see what they do. I'm not really scared about this like right now, but obviously if they start setting up Calm Minds, that could be really bad for me. But we'll see. Even if they start setting up Calm Minds, what I think I'll do is just spam Sludge Wave to try to get a poison on them. Then I can go into Skeledirge and Terra, and at that point, like, you know, I think I'm in a pretty decent spot against Slowking at that point. So yeah, they go for that. I could go Memento here. I don't know if that's any better. Actually, I think the Memento special attack drop is actually ignored by Unaware, so that's actually really bad for me. So I'm gonna go Sludge Wave, see how much damage I do, maybe hope to get a poison or something. I know Slowking has really good special defense, but I do get a decent chunk of damage and I poison them, which is just great for me. Now I get to go into Skeledirge, and I'm just going to Terra right away. I can also go Torch Song, which is maybe a dumb play, but given that Skeledirge is my last Pokemon, I think it's actually nice to have a special attack boost against the rest of their team. Plus, if they happen to switch, that could be good for me, though maybe Shadow Ball is just the better option. Okay, if I go Shadow Ball, they could switch into, like... I mean, Breloom's not a great switch. I guess if their Breloom has like Iron Head or something, I should be worried about that, but I guess I Shadow Ball here, just try to get off as much damage as possible, maybe try to get a special defense drop. They could also Terra, but unless they're like Terra Poison with Terra Blast or something, I'm not really worried. I don't think Slowking gets too many moves that like really threaten a Terra Fairy Skeledirge, but we'll see. His name is also Slowking, so he's probably slower than me, which is good because I can get off some slack offs, you know, faster than him, which can also matter. So we'll see how this goes. Oh, I just straight up knock it out. Wow. I got a crit. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that critical hit mattered. Like, obviously it's super effective stab, but Slowking has pretty good special defense. I don't know, maybe their Slowking was just max HP, max special attack, but either way, I'm now 1v1 versus Cloyster. Oh, this is great. This is actually great. Cloyster typically runs Shell Smash, and again, I have Unaware, so I'm going to just ignore those Shell Smash boosts. Cloyster also has really low special defense, so Torch Song will actually do a lot of damage against them. So I'm just in a great spot against them, if I'm being honest. Unless they're like some weird set like Choice Band with like some Steel type move, which, hey, that's possible. You know, you never know what you're going to expect on the Battle Stadium singles ladder. They actually are Terra Ice, which is even better for me because now Torch Song will be super effective. They go Icicle Spear knowing, I'm assuming knowing that I have Unaware, so they're not going to go for the Shell Smash. So Torch Song just might straight up one-hit KO them, which is good. It's good to end this. Wow, that's actually doing a lot of damage. I guess I should be aware of that, right? I do have leftovers though. Luckily, Skeleturge is the Pokemon that got to keep leftovers on it, not Annihilate. And hey, we do win. Like I said, Cloyster's special defense is really low. So, you know, at least I ended this video on a win. I know their team was pretty non-traditional, but it was still fun. And Cloyster is a monster. Cloyster is a nightmare. If your team is unprepared, Cloyster can absolutely just destroy your whole team. I think what's making it so that Cloyster is not as common right now is because, again, there are just so many Unaware Pokemon that are really good against it, like Skeleturge, as we saw, but also Dondozo is just probably a nightmare for Cloyster. So I think that's why people are not really running Cloyster these days, is because just so many Unaware Pokemon. But if you bring Cloyster and you have a good team to support it and the opponents don't really have too many Unaware Pokemon, Cloyster, again, can just dismantle teams by itself. It's really scary. You set up a Shell Smash, then you have a Focus Sash, so you always live a hit. And then from there, you have Skill Link with like Rock Blast and Icicle Spear, which are always going to hit 5 times. So those are basically like 125 power Ice and Rock type moves, respectively. And you just kind of sweep through everything. So Cloyster is a terrifying Pokemon if handled right. So anyways, that was a fun one. Let's kind of go back through the team and just talk about it. I know, again, I didn't build this as a team. I just threw together a bunch of Pokemon I had, but it was still a lot of fun. Let's talk about Dragonite, the main Pokemon I wanted to feature. I guess we'll quickly start by talking about the Pokemon I like here. Skeleturge is just going to be one of my favorite Pokemons. This is going to be my new Dragapult. This is going to be my new Choice Specs Dragapult. This just has been so clutch for me in so many battles. I know it's nothing new either, and it's one of the best Pokemon in general, so everyone's aware of it at this point, but it's just a Pokemon that I like using. It's just so good. Sometimes it single-handedly beats teams, kind of like in that battle. So Skeleturge is just such a great Pokemon right now. It just has a lot going for it. And again, I'm never gonna not want to bring this. I'll try to limit the amount of times I bring it so it's not on every team this season, but you know, I just love this Pokemon. And I do like me Glimmora. I like Glimmora a lot. I think there are cases where it's really, really good and you just get up a bunch of hazards and like really threaten the opponent unexpectedly. And then there are times where it just kind of gets shut down against certain things. So, you know, I think this was a battle, or this was a game, or rather this was a video with several games where Glimmora was not at its best, but there are cases where it can be very good. This was also a game where, or a situation where Dondozo wasn't amazing, but you know, there are cases where Dondozo is also just amazing, so who knows. Annihilate didn't have a chance to shine either. If you put it on the right team with a lot of good support, it can be another nightmare of a Pokemon. But I honestly will say I don't think I played it perfectly this game. Finally, we have my beautiful Dragonite here. Let's take another look at this beautiful shiny. And I think there are better sets for Dragonite. I think Dragonite has potential to be a very, very good Pokemon in this meta. I acknowledge that this was not the best set for it. I think if you want to go the Terra Normal Extreme Speed route, once again, you're probably just better off running Choice Band. And if you want to go the Dragon Dance Sweeper set, I think you should probably pay a little bit more mind to the EVs perhaps, and also the move set. Maybe Earthquake can help, maybe Terra Blast with a different Terra type like Terra Fairy, which I've seen is really good, but there's a lot of options. You also have Multiscale and Dragonite learns Roost, so that's something you can kind of try to take advantage of as well. Again, I think Dragonite has a lot of potential in this meta, and I've seen a few other sets online that I want to try out. So next time you see me running Dragonite, I'll try to make a smarter move set. But I mean, it's still a very good Pokemon and I enjoyed using it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like. Also, please subscribe for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet videos. I'm very close to 31,000 subscribers. I know that's a random milestone, but I've been at 30,000 subscribers for a little while, and now I'm finally, for a good while actually, and now I'm finally up close to 31,000. So it'd be nice to push over that. So please subscribe if you're enjoying these videos, and please comment below what you thought of the team, what Pokemon have been doing well for you in Battle Stadium singles, and if there are any Pokemon you'd like to see me try out in my future videos. So thank you very much for watching. I had a lot of fun. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.